We'll try to recap some important value addition. So I will share this PDF in Google Drive because it's a bit lengthy. All the articles from Hindu and various other newspapers of last 1 week, which I feel are very important. At least a discussion or an idea on what is happening in the news will help you gain some clarity. This topic we have discussed, a nod for recognizing household work. Should women be given certain extra income? Yesterday, Sidhu also announced that 2,000 rupees will be given to women, 1,000 more than Arvind Kejriwal. As I said, it will be a politically contagious topic. All whoever wins Punjab elections, it will send a very clear message that yes, if you give money to women, probably you will win. With or without logic, people will start doing throughout the country, right? So that will create some new discussions. So we have discussed this particular topic about housework. The conclusion is we should not only give money, we should empower them through multiple ways: education, health, access, self-empowerment, and all these things are more important rather than money alone. That is the conclusion. Okay. We'll go to these two articles. Okay. So this is written by Kabir Taneja, I think in 29th or 30th December. Have you read this article?
Yes, sir.
The Gulf countries are planning to take some control over the entire Afghanistan Taliban issue. That is what Kabir Taneja is trying to argue. So what is Gulf countries? What are Gulf countries? Mostly the most important ones are Saudi Arabia. The most important dominant player in Gulf is Saudi Arabia. So Saudi and Pakistanis are considered as friends. Okay. And Pakistan have a lot of influence in Taliban. Okay. So in between what happened, the Pakistan and Taliban, the Pakistan and Saudis were not totally in same page. They were having some issues. The Saudis were not treating Pakistan on par with any other country. The example is Pakistan saying not to invite India for Gulf OIC meetings. In spite of that, India got invitation for OIC. Yes or no? So because India got, that was a clear message that Pakistan's influence is coming down in the Gulf countries. But what he argues now is because the Gulf countries wants to come back into the Taliban or Afghanistan area, they are again going back to Pakistan. So Pakistan's influence might increase. But at the same time, when Pakistan is having control over Taliban, India is also making inroads in the Gulf countries. A lot of investment is coming from Gulf into India. Bilateral relations are very good. At the same time, using Abraham Accords, we are also increasing our sphere of influence in the West countries for energy security, future investments, funds, So as I told you, the Gulf countries have a lot of money. They don't have any manufacturing capacity. India have manufacturing capacity but do not have a lot of funds. So joining hands will have a long-term future for Gulf countries. See, it's like a retirement plan for the Gulf countries. Sooner than later, oil will be exhausted. Or I mean, people's dependence on oil will come down. So now they have money. They will invest this money in developing countries. So when the oil is no longer needed, the returns from these developing countries will help the Gulf countries. So that is how the dynamics are going to change. So we'll see how Pakistan will still be a kingmaker, yes or no. This is yesterday's article, I think, or day before yesterday. There, banks' gross non-performing assets may increase to 9.5% by September 2022. So, what is the problem with that scenario?
Reduced liquidity.
NPS. See, NPS will severely affect the overall performance of the banking system. So in September, probably the Omicron wave will be subdued. Economy will be, trying to get back onto the feet. So let's assume that Omicron will continue till June, July. Every year this cycle continues, right? Every year in March we used to get the wave. Till June, July, people used to afraid. From July onwards, again everybody goes on to eat pani puri. Okay. Yes. So till June, you restrict yourself. From June to December, you're back. Again in January, the repeat. So this time probably it will start in Jan mid or Jan end, and it might continue till May, June. Okay. From June onwards, we will try to recover the economy, V-shaped recovery or whatever, depends on the severity of the lockdowns. At that time, country needs money. When I'm trying to stand back on feet, I need some extra glucose. Yes. At that time, if the banks are having higher NPAs, they won't be interested in giving new loans. You understand the logic, right? When the economy is trying to revive, liquidity should be higher. The flow of money should be better. But banks will be very, very scared to give new loans. Why? Higher NPAs. Automatically, that will create a lot of problems. But is there something that we can do to stop the rise of NPAs? Imagine you are a, just basic examples, not big industries also, basic examples. You are a theater owner. West Bengal have already closed theaters and schools. Okay. Recently, last 2 years, you suffered, huge breakdown because of lack of releases. Okay. Next, you'll start you took a loan and you started the theater. You started the theater. What will happen? Again, it will be closed. Immediately when it is closed, again you will go into losses. So that loan you have taken will become NPA. That is a basic example. Now apply it to scale it up to MSMEs, then industries. So I took a 2,000 crore loan to establish some steel industry or something, assuming people will come back into the streets and all those things. Suddenly lockdown came, everybody is holed up in their houses. For 3 or 4 months, there are no sales. Then NPS will increase. So probably people took new loan to repay the old loans. That is also, so there are 10,000 reasons on how economy is going to suffer. Okay, so NPS normal ones is fine, COVID is extra bonus. So collectively all of these things will suffocate the India's growth. Then again I told you NBFCs, banks will give loans to NBFCs will give loans to rural areas. If rural area is suffering from Omicron, okay, there won't be any demand in the rural area. If there is no demand in the rural area, there is no demand, there is no flow of funds for NBFCs, and it will affect the overall NPS. Clear? When NPS increase, what is the tool that RBI have? When NPS increase, in certain banks, what are the tools available for
PCA?
Prompt corrective action? The first is prompt corrective action. See, bad bank is like last resort. Bad bank is last option. Step 1 is prompt corrective action. Step 2 is insolvency bankruptcy code. Step 3 is bad bank. Okay. See, you should be very clear in reading this article. Yesterday I was also mentioning to her, when you read that article also, automatically you have to tag it to certain points. I will use it in this particular scenario. Okay, as long as you don't revise it with a purpose. Okay, you're just reading the article for the sake of reading it. The very smart thing to do is, when you read an article, imagine all kinds of questions. Okay, what are the reasons for NPS that we have discussed? Okay, what will be the solution for NPS? Is there anything to stop the growth of NPS? Let's say everything is going fantastically smooth. Okay, economy is recovering at 10% GDP. At that time, if NPS are increasing, that is willful default. If businesses are flowing fantastically, let's imagine 2023, there is no COVID. Okay, Indian GDP is growing at 10%. Indian economy cycle is at boom. Everybody is hyperactive. At that time, if NPS are increasing, that means somebody is not repaying the loan. If you took a loan as a factory, your factory is running well, people are buying goods, money is flowing, everything is fine, then you are not paying. That means the problem is with you, probably Vijay Mallya type of setup. Okay, so that is where we have to think of different dimensions. The NGO articles we have discussed, right? Basically, there should be a balance. There should be a balance between what the government is doing and the NGOs are doing. Again, yesterday article also justifies the same thing, that NGOs are like a bridge to the last mile delivery. Public service delivery capacity of the state is limited states capacity. You remember that article, right? Yes, NGOs. So in future, if you see a question, will you be able to write an answer? What will be the questions, or what kind of questions can come?
Something on the lines of treating NGOs as a partner is a solution for development of rural India.
NGOs are a part of problem, part of solution, not a part of the problem. So that can be one point of view. Then, how do NGOs help in the last mile connectivity? Not only NGOs, right? Not only FCRA, even government, RBI rules, like, debit card transactions, pre-approval of debit card transactions, all these things, tokenization, these things will severely affect the donations of the NGOs. Let's imagine subscription-based NGO. Okay, every month you will automatically 1,000 rupees or something will be deducted from your account. You have included it in your debit card. You are paying. One day RBI decided to revoke that particular thing. You have to manually do that. People may or may not have the same thought of mind, right? So that will also affect your revenues. Even NGOs have to change. That is what we have discussed. They have become like a luxury employment opportunity. If I don't do anything, I will create an NGO, hi-fi Banjara Hills setup. Yes or no? Yes. You get the idea, right? So automatically it creates a lot of problems. Prelims question.
IRDA is
no, this one. Domestically systemic important insurance companies. There is a concept called as domestically systemic important banks, DSIB, DSIB. In the same way, D insurance. Systemic insurance. Insurance is also important thing. So life insurance company, general insurance company, and New India Assurance. All these three are called as domestically systemic important insurance companies. So if you have actually understood 2008 economic crisis, 2008 economic crisis in US, okay, you'll understand the importance of DSIB and insurance companies. Today or yesterday, I think RBI has announced that the three banks, what are the three banks? HDFC, SBI, ICICI. These three are domestically systemic important banks. That is also a prelims question. So what are the criteria to be considered as a domestically systemic important bank is a prelims question. Okay, they are also called as too big to fail banks. They're also called as too big to fail banks. So why are they risky? That means if any of these things fail as a bank, as an insurance, it will affect the Indian economy overall. It will slow down the Indian economy. So what is the link between insurance companies and bank companies in 2008 financial crisis?
People started to take too much loan. Also being simultaneously insured by the insurance companies. So, but when they failed to pay back the loan, again, the insurance premium also had a
when so many defaulters increase, then it's a burden on
insurance
companies.
Almost there. Still some small linkage is missing.
Surety bonds.
When everyone claim the insurance.
Everyone claimed the insurance. Okay. Okay. Almost there. Two 2008 financial crisis. The simple logic is insurance company. I'm an insurance company, right? I need to have, let's say, 1 lakh crore. Now LIC officially have more than 1 lakh crores. What is the purpose of having 1 lakh crores? When so many people will come together, okay, when so many people will come together, I need to have funds enough to give the compensation. If everybody in this room demands compensation from the same time, either the bank or the insurance company should have enough liquidity to give the loans. So in 2008 economic crisis, what happened is, even these insurance companies have invested that money in the bonds. Okay, they have taken their own money, and they see bank loan is converted into share or a bond, right? Debentures. So bank loans were converted into bonds, and those bonds were again purchased by insurance companies. Okay.
Who's the okay?
The loan.
The debt.
The debt has been collateralized, right? It
That
has
is
been converted into
share
shares.
of bank.
Shares or bonds. Okay, I forgot the term. Okay, that is again purchased by the insurance companies. So they spent a lot of money purchasing these things to protect the banks.
No, sir. Who will own the shares?
The LIC company.
Then again, why they have to purchase? Already they are the owners of that share.
No, not the LIC share. You are getting confused. I have given loan to Uma.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then that loan is converted into a share. Okay, and that share is sold to you. Okay, you can be anyone, financial institutor or someone, right? LIC company, anyone. So loan has been converted into share. That means when Umang repays, she won't be repaying it to me, she will be repaying it to you. So whoever owns that particular share, she will be liable to pay. So like this, everybody started purchasing all these shares. So I kept on giving new loans, and that loans are being converted into shares. So you will give me certain amount of money. So my money is safe. You are having a problem. But huge amount of NPS increased. I collapsed. When I collapsed, I took all of you along with me. Because I already showed the shares, right? So they are not going to repay. I am not going to buy back. You don't have anyone to repay that loan. You have wasted all that money buying all these useless shares. Okay, the money which you are supposed to give as insurance. So like this, every system interlinked with other systems, and collectively they failed. We are not talking about 1,000 crores or 2,000 crores. We are talking about $900 billion. $700 billion. Just imagine $700 billion scam. Nobody was wiser. Everybody was giving loans. Everybody was buying collateral. Everybody was happy till the boom bubble burst. Okay, and that slowed down the entire world. 2008 is the reason why we have higher NPS in India. Till 2008, India was in a boom cycle. Okay, if all the banks in India were also very happy to give loans. Why? World is booming. India is also growing along with the world. So the people who took loans in India are exporting, importing, everything is working fantastically. Suddenly one day we woke up and found that America economy collapsed. When American economy collapsed, also it took out the entire global trade. When global trade slowed down, Indian trade also slowed down. Indian NPS started increasing. So instead of acting very quickly on rectification part, because of the lack of collective wisdom, we started doing this evergreening of loans, whitewashing of loans. Slowly we accumulated all our issues till 2014. Only when Raghuram Rajan became the RBI governor, he did the stress test. He asked all the banks to actually tell me how much NPS they have. That is when we came to realize, okay, 7 lakh crores is NPS. So we have a potential of 11 to 12 lakh crores of NPS in the countries. So all that money is stuck somewhere. 12 lakh crores not rotating in the economy is like a spanner in the mission. Clear? So that is why domestically systemic important banks and insurance companies are very, very important. Again, I'm not discussing 2008 economic crisis. It's a huge topic. It will take 1 hour. Okay, preferably watch some YouTube video, 10 minutes video, because it has a series of events. 2008 economic crisis is a series of events. I will try to share the video. Watch it. It will be crystal clear. This we have discussed: ideological shift, Indianization, soft power. What are the countries that share boundary with?
Mediterranean Sea.
Give water. What are the countries that share boundary with Israel? Does Egypt share boundary with Israel? Are Egypt and Israel neighbors? Which sea? Lebanon? Does Lebanon share boundary with Israel? Syria? No? Again, that is what I told you, right? In the recap, obviously Lebanon, Syria, Egypt all share boundary with Israel. Any other country?
Palestine.
Palestine is like two-state theory, right? They're part and parcel package. Jordan. So Sinai Peninsula. Where is Sinai Peninsula? Okay. So it's not related to. It's related to Egypt, not Israel. Okay. What about Golan Heights? Golan Heights. Golan Heights is in the news. Related to which country? Golan Heights. Golan Heights is the area occupied by Israel of Syria. Okay, so it's in Israel-Syria border. Okay. So again, as I said, the moment you close your eyes, your atlas should be in front of your mind. 5 minutes every day will save you, or will get you at least 4 marks in prelims. 2 marks guaranteed from map, 2 marks in elimination for some other thing. At least if you know where Egypt is. Okay, where is Egypt? Egypt is in Africa, Northern Africa. Where is Israel? West Asia. Right? So, but they share a land boundary. So they are the connecting parts of North Africa to the rest of the West Asia. So it's a very, very important joint. And the basic post-independence consolidation or world history will give you some clarity on how these things have took place. So if they say Hamas, Gaza Strip, right? Or is Palestine, where is Palestine, Gaza Strip? All these things should be printed in your mind. Without any confusion, you can easily get 2 marks. Yes or no? So Israel is very, very important. India-Israel relations are also a direct mains question. UPSC is asked, are India and Israel natural allies? Yes. So if you read mains syllabus properly, automatically your prelims knowledge should increase. There is no official definition. It's a statement given by some prime minister that in India and Israel are natural allies. Natural means, do we have a lot of commonalities? We have a lot of commonalities, right? Both of us have suffered the colonization. Both of us are victims to terrorist activities. Yes, diversity is there. So automatically we shared a lot of value systems.
Weaponized borders.
So like this, we share commonalities culturally and all those things. And at the same time, we don't believe in the brute force mentality of the Israelis. We always go for winning hearts and minds rather than eliminating the opposition.
But that will be a different point.
Which point?
We are like within Archelmans, they are terrorists.
They are not terrorists. They are like, you know, they use brute force to eliminate the
So
terrorists.
that is not a natural ally.
That is what I said. Some points are natural ally. Counterpoint is this.
But we should have been thought of natural.
Why?
Because the question only natural ally is past.
Is India a weak democracy? Will you write your entire answer saying yes, India is useless, India is having all the weaknesses, and end it?
That is a negative question. So definitely the answer should be positive. But when a positive question is asked,
There is no such thing as negative or positive question. Every question should have that diversity. Is India a natural ally? Most of the times, yes. 1 or 2 points we have divergence. 8 lakh income is a reasonable cap for EWS. For the first time, we have economic criteria as a reservation, and government is vehemently defending the 8% reservation. So, because of this, students' lives and attempts are being wasted. For example, NEET exam has been postponed for over 6 months. So that means he or she will become doctor 8 months later. So as the time progresses, they will get older and older. So the human capital of India is, you know, stuck because of all this reservation drama. So the courts have given very graciously the right time. So Supreme Court listed this very quickly. So we might get a judgment today. EWS reservation that might change a lot of things. So this is a potential question for post-independence consolidation. What is the history of reservation system in India, or how did reservation system help India? Did reservation system change India? Right. So the argument is we need to have empirical data. Yes or no? In 1950s, when we got independence, when we wrote our constitution, ten more years. So 80 years of independence also, we had reservation system. Did that change the life of the marginalized sections of the society? From 1992 onwards, we have OBC reservation, the Mandal Committee report, Mandal reservation system, right? So after Indira Swamy judgment, how much did the life of the OBC community change because of the reservation system? Now, from 2019-20 onwards, how much did the EWS reservation system change? Okay, how long should we have the reservation system? What is the long-term outcome? Should we have empirical data? Should we have something like creamy layer in all the sections? Yes, is there any empirical proof? And the logical extension is caste-based census. And the logical extension is caste-based census. Will caste-based census have lot of development implications in the country? Right? You understood the logic? It's a continuous flow. We are assuming that reservation is the solution for the upliftment of the marginal sections. It's going on. It will go for next 100 years also if we let it as it is. But we need to have some kind of empirical data. But that is more or less missing in the nation.
then how do we give our arguments?
We give our arguments on basis of census for caste-based census should be conducted. It will have a lot of issues, obviously, but that issue should not deter us from collecting the data.
Yes, sir. So for the data is not there. So if the question is like this, how far did the
there are a lot of weaknesses. For example, many reports have, even Rohini committee report also shows you, right? Rohini committee report can be substantiated. Justice Rohini committee report clearly says a very few communities within the OBCs are reaping all the reservations. There are very few secretaries or principal secretaries in the top cadre in IAS, IPS. Okay.
And there is one committee about Muslims.
Sachar committee is, very old committee, and people have a lot of doubts on that committee. You get the idea, right? So you need to use a committee reports to substantiate that these people are not being represented fully. But again, the logic is to use technology, blockchain or whatever to create the digital database on how many people are actually weak and marginal. If you see Safai Karamcharis, 95% Safai Karamcharis are from SC community. right? That clearly shows that there is a backwardness still that is prevailing in the scheduled caste. Right? Yes, yesterday that person was arrested, it seems.
Yes,
He was a software engineer. As I have said, the young minds are polluted. That when you promote the hate in the society, it's the young generation, it's the lowest people. I mean, the people at the ground level who are actually impacted. So, as a politician, when I promoted hate, I clearly know what I'm doing. I'm doing it for the purely vote sake. Okay, but at grassroots level, what happened? Polarization happened. That software engineer, 18 or 21-year-old, he created an app to sell the data about Muslim women. Okay, you must have heard about this. Yes. In technically, women in the sense the photos, their personal details, and all those things. You cannot sell her, right? I mean, just think about it. Yes. So it's like a game for them. It's like an entertainment for them.
I thought it was a site for trafficking.
No. It's not trafficking for women. Let's say you are a Muslim, you have uploaded your photo in Facebook and all those things. So I will sell all your personal data, and it's just like having fun selling this. Okay, best deal. Buy her details, buy this detail, that detail. So if it is for trafficking, we would have hanged our heads, right? Like it's a shame. They cannot create an app for trafficking that openly. Yes. So again, as I said, it's a polarization and the unplanned outcomes. Right. So, and he can link also two things. One is GitHub. GitHub is a US based company. It's a depository for all the codes. It has a lot of good things. GitHub is a good place, but unfortunately, it is being misused for all the wrong things. Mutual legal assistance treaties are is something that has to be thought out, and data localization is also something that has to be linked to this particular topic. What is mutual legal assistance treaty? GitHub is a US based company, so I cannot access the data of GitHub directly. I have to request CBI, CBI will request FBI, FBI will ask GitHub, GitHub will then get back to FBI, FBI to CBI, then to the local police. So it's like a very, very lengthy cycle, and it will take a huge amount of time. If the company is not responsive in the right time, okay, that app or that site will still be online and it will get all the unwanted publicity. So there should be a quick response by the companies. So there should be a liaison officer. Right? There should be a liaison officer. Liaison, LIASION. Liaison means it's like a mediator. It's like a bridge between government and tech companies. So every tech company should appoint a liaison officer. So if I have some issue with Facebook or GitHub, immediately I will complain to him, and he will make sure that things are speeded up. That is one thing. Next is mutual legal assistance treaty. There is one more American act. I forgot the act name. Okay. There is one American act which gives, its friendly countries access directly to complain to the US based companies. So instead of going through the FBI CBA route, the Indian government can directly interact with the American companies for crimes and other problems. So American act empowers this. So we are also working on the same thing. So like this, the legal gap between the companies and the country should be bridged, because MNCs can work from anywhere. One more solution is data localization. Data localization, obviously the server will be within India. Indian government will have full access to the GitHub data. So if the police file a complaint, GitHub will immediately respond and the person will be arrested. So because of the severity of the case and the seriousness of the stupidity, government has reacted very quickly and he was arrested within 1 day. So that should send a very strong message to the society that you cannot misuse. Okay, see, this is both misogyny and hatred. Right, so that is misogyny. There are already existing IPC provisions which says dignity of women cannot be affected and all those things, right? And at the same time, it is communal. It's pure example of bigotry. Okay, This we have discussed, medical termination of pregnancy. What is ODF plus? Plus and ODF plus?
For the defecation free area, the tag is given as ODF and ODF. Open defecation free.
ODF is open defecation free. ODF plus is?
ODF plus is the waste is being properly treated. ODF plus. All are complete.
Swachh Bharat, that is ODF. Open defecation free is one of the core components of Swachh Bharat. Swachh Bharat's extension is ODF, ODF plus, ODF plus plus. Waste management, garbage management, then solid waste management. Okay, so not only toilets, you have to maintain the cleanliness of the villages, then also solid liquid waste management. That means the drainage waste and all these things, are they treated properly? So ODF plus is the logical extension of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Luckily, we have two terms for Prime Minister Modi. So his dream of continuing the same continued. So Swachh Bharat and its logical extensions are being institutionalized. That means at least the next generations will consider all these things as very, very normal. India will have a toilet plus proper drainage system. Both are logical extensions. So that is the basic for Swachh Bharat 2.0. Swachh Bharat 2.0. Yes. Okay, so this we must have seen. We have discussed inverted tax or inverted duties. Inverted duties. What are inverted duties? When the output is cheaper than inputs, raw materials. Here, one more point we can simply link is it creates a lot of problems in GST. How, let's say, again, if you take the same article, they say the man-made fiber is 18%. As a GST exporter, I have given you certain goods. Okay, I have paid 18% tax. Okay, I have paid 18% tax. But then when it is converted, it is paid only at, let's say, 12%. The final product is 12%. So I paid 6% more than what is the final tax. So that 6% should be refunded to me. If you know the GST logic, yes, refunds, right? Input tax credits. Input tax credits are coming back to me for the tax I have paid. I have paid 18%, but the final buyer is paying only 12%. So what should be my refund? 6% or whatever that money is. So if GST is having an inverted duty structure, more and more refunds have to be paid by the government to MSMEs. Now imagine a MSME investing 1,000 crores. Okay, 60 crores is stuck in GST refunds, or 6 crores is stuck in GST refunds. 6 crores is a rotation capital for a MSME. That 6 crores is very, very important for me to run the company. I mean, if the 6 crore is taking time to be refunded, I cannot go for the next batch. So the next batch is stuck because of this inverted duty structure. So that can also be one thought process. But again, that is too much. Basically, you need to know there is a concept called as inverted duty structure. That's a prelims question. Okay, potential prelims topic. Inverted duty structures. If you don't know what is GST, again, I cannot help you to explain that logic. You need to know what is input tax credit. Cascading effects. Input tax credit. This also we have briefly discussed. Pangong Lake, finger 1, 2, 3, 4, finger 8. So China is constructing infrastructure in the Chinese side of the Pangong Lake. What type of lake is that lake? Is it a freshwater lake, saltwater lake? Sure. At least in one mock paper, you will see this question, guaranteed. Is it a freshwater lake, saltwater lake? What type of lake is it?
It's a saltwater.
Sure.
9.
95%. Mhm. It has similarity with the Dead Sea. What is the similarity? It's a technical term. Salt water. Salinity is not a technical term, right? Again, because of salinity, they don't live.
So
Of
it
course.
is an inland water.
What is the technical term for that? A lake without any tributaries or inflows does not have any inflows. Because they don't have any inflows, the water will be very, very saline. If there is a fresh water that is flowing, automatically salinity will come down. If there is no inflow, automatically salinity will only increase. It starts with D. The technical term starts with D. Okay, find out tomorrow homework. Yes. If you don't do homework, you will forget it very soon. Any ideas? Geography? What is it called? No problem. Others will search. Don't worry. Yes. Scientific temper, fundamental duties. Sure.
Yes, sir.
Russian border is kind of important for your map pointing. There are a lot of seas. Sea of Azov is one of the most important thing, right? Digital. Do you remember that digital Maitri?
Yes, sir.
Digital Maitri. Yes. Digital India promoting digital diplomacy. That article. So Nitin Pai also wrote an article in Indian Express arguing that India have a lot to gain from open source software. In prelims, a question can be like this: open source software belongs to a certain company. Okay, open source softwares cannot be modified. Open source softwares are free. Which of the three statements are true?
Modified and
Belong to a company.
yes.
It cannot be modified. It can be modified. Okay. And it is free. Open source softwares are free. Sure. Example. Covin app. It's free. Can we download Covin app? I mean, for my personal use. In GitHub repository, we can download Covin app. Okay.
No, not Covin app, sir.
The code. Okay.
For the purposes we need it. It's an open source.
Tell me any other example of open source app, not government. Something you use open source.
Android.
Something else. Android I told, Covin I told. At least you may be aware before me also. I know. Chatbox. Chatbox apps. Okay. Any other famous open source app that you use? Torrent. Torrent is not a open source app, right?
YouTube. Crowdsource.
Open source. This app is say government apps are not technical. See, they can be open source, but coding. There are a lot of free open source apps. Most of the apps you probably have in your laptops or in your systems are open source apps. Signal is an open source app. Signal chat, as you mentioned, Chatbox app. Signal is an open source app. Right? There are a lot of open source. The advantage of open source is, what is the major advantage of open source? Anyone? Access to whom? Access to everyone. Okay. So you are talking about the usage of app or access to the app? Downloads. Okay.
It is not monetized, so privacy.
Okay.
Not monetized.
That is a problem, right? No generation of money is a problem. More generation of money. So that's the advantage, right? It will be made even better, even stronger. The biggest advantage of open source app is it will have less and less bugs because more and more people will be working. If you open a GitHub repository, there will be a box, there will be a chart which shows how many people have raised certain complaints and how many of them are resolved and how many people are collaborating. So there is a code where 1,000 people can work simultaneously on one code. Just imagine one piece of code being worked by 1,000 people. The efficiency of code will be much higher. So I write a line. Okay, I'm very creative. I wrote a line. Okay, so it is very efficient. Someone else will get a new idea based on my idea and they will make it even more optimized. So the more the people work on it, the stronger the code will be. Stronger the code, less chances of bugs, right? And when it is open source, 10,000 people will try it, 10,000 devices, 10,000 issues will come out. For example, it will work fantastically in iPad, but it won't work properly in iPhone. So someone will tell me that problem. So like this, it gets optimized more and more perfectly. So that is the single biggest advantage of open source. Again, governments cannot hide anything behind open source data. You cannot add 2 lines, which will steal the data or which will give information to some third parties. All these things can be stopped by open source apps. Open source will build a trust. Open source also allows the countries to modify their access. For example, if Sudan is importing COVID app, it can brand its name, it can change everything, it can make sure that India is not spying on Sudan, right? Proprietary apps won't allow you the problems. That is why lots and lots of bugs will be there. So people say bugs are not a problem, bugs are a feature. They deliberately introduce bugs so that they can keep on making sure that the user is using my product for a long time. That is also an issue. Again, at the same time, open source apps are not perfect. They will also have a lot of issues. For example, Android. It's very risky to use Android. Android is very highly prone to hacks. Yes or no? Whereas iOS is not so prone to attacks. Hacks. Higher education, the problems of higher education in the country, right? Recently, CAG has released a report saying 8 recently set IITs are totally defunct. They are not properly functioning well. So CAG report is a very powerful way to criticize the higher education system in the country. So without reading this report, just imagine government has set up 8 IITs, 8 new IITs. Okay. What percentage of the capacity might these IITs have taken? Like I have 100 seats, 8 IITs have 800 seats, hypothetically, just as an example. So if 800 is 100%, how many seats do you think are filled in the last 5 years?
60 to 70%.
70% occupancy. 33%. According to CAG report, only 33% of the seats are filled in the IITs. Okay, not my words. CAG of India is saying the same thing. Yes, I know it's very hard to believe.
No, sir. Like it is because students are not applying, or it is because Joseph is not that they're not taking.
The IITs are not admitting. So there is a problem somewhere. Okay, there is a mismatch between aspirations and ground level realities. When I read it twice. I wanted to understand what was the problem. So the ministry envisaged overall intake is 18,000 students. but only took 6,224 students, which is just 33% of the planned intake.
So what about rest of the space?
The rest,
Vacant.
That's it.
IITs are vacant. The problem is IITs are not having their own we are so good at wasting public money. Delayed infrastructure development led to spillover of the projects from 6 to 13 years. So IIT is supposed to be constructed in 6 years. Now it will be constructed after 13 years. Not only that, the budget increased from 6,000 crores to 14,000 crores. There is a 136% increase in the time and cost overruns because of the delays. The reasons are the state governments could not find land. Imagine a state government saying, I don't have time to find a land for a IIT. Yes, all the existing IITs are working along with some NITs. Existing infrastructure is being used for IITs. They don't have a dedicated IIT campuses. So all this clearly shows that there is a lack of investment in higher education departments. And there is also one thing, there are no patents filed. I don't know where it is. I think in that article. No patents were obtained in 5 IITs during 2014 to 2019. For 5 years, combinedly, the entire IITs, I mean those IITs did not produce a single patent. R&D is a issue. Yes. See, we measure in the terms of patents, right? The output of the STEM culture is through patents. It's scientific. They have to produce something concrete. It may be simple thing. It may not be world changing, but it might be simple thing. So that promotes the creativity and people taking higher education. Many people in India don't even do PhD. Why? After engineering, you're supposed to get married, have kids, get a 1 lakh rupee salary or something like that. So your plan is set. If you're going for PhD and all those things, it will only be delayed. And there is no future for specialties. So why do all those risks settle happily? So we already have that culture in the society. Adding to that, if I don't do any patents and all those things at international level, I'm not having any authority. Very few brave souls are still working on research and development. All this will combinedly affect India. As I said, IBM have more patents last year than India. MNC have more patents than India, 1.25 billion population. Okay. So I'm not saying that we are not capable enough of creating patents. I'm saying we don't have the culture of working towards all these things. So that's an interesting report. So you can cite this in higher education, CAG reporting setting up of new IITs. Announcing is one thing, implementation is the actual reality.
So it's not about patents, it's about PhDs who are not.
Patents technically you can say so. At least patent wise you can say so. But at least in engineering level also, if you encourage students, they will produce some kind of innovations. They're smart enough to do. 18,000 is for BTech.
Like that,
No. Combined BTech plus PhD. Everything.
Like that cleared the examination, but not given the chance.
I think so.
So what is the issue?
The obvious issue is there are 18,000 seats. You have taken only 6,000 students. What about the remaining 12,000?
That cleared the examination.
Probably.
Then why didn't they take it?
That is the issue. You understand it, right?
Like, how can they give us the reason?
Lack of infrastructure, lack of capacity. I will tell you simple.
Like the students, if they ask
Again, my capacity is very limited. In theory, I have 18,000 seats. Okay, but in reality, I have only 100 seats. So I can only take 100 kids. So I have stopped my intake at 100. See, one reason why government of India says every year IAS posts are 90. There are only 90 vacancies in IAS in the last all the notifications. Why only 90? There is no intake for Labasna. In Labasna, in Mussoorie, the capacity is only 90. So that is why we are announcing only 90. That is one reason given by Government of India. You understand it, right? Okay. So things work in a different way in the grassroots level. 6 Naxals killed in Sukma encounter. So Naxalism is still a prevailing problem. All of you know the Naxal entire story, right? Keywords related to Naxals are? What are the keywords related to Naxalism? Left-wing extremism, red corridor, then winning hearts and minds, Maoism, lack of development. I told you, right? You have to draw a chart in your brain. Throw the keywords. The first thing you should do is throw the keywords. Even if you don't know entire thing about Naxalism, if you write these 10 keywords in the answers, examiner will think that you know Naxalism. The moment I see red corridor, oh, okay, he knows. Maoism, he knows. Ministry of Home Affairs, special commands like Cobra. Okay, counterinsurgency, winning hearts and minds. Yes, rehabilitation programs. Yes, smart policing. Then use of technology. If I write all these terms, I'm writing what is Naxalism, what are the problems of Naxalism, what are the steps taken by Government of India, way forward. Examiner will think, oh, he knows a lot. Do I really know a lot? I don't need to know. Yes or no? After getting selected as IPS, I will know how to deal with Naxals. Till then, all I need to know is what is Naxalism. That's all. Okay. Again, you cannot write good answers without changing your thought process. That is what I'm telling you 1,000 times. Change your thought process, answers will automatically get better. If you don't change your answers, everybody else answers are not good, I am not getting scores. You won't get scores also. Because I think yesterday or day before yesterday also, some student sent me a essay copy of a different institute evaluation. And she was like, sir, do I really deserve this marks? She got very less score. So she was, upset that, she got less score. Do you agree with that institute's evaluation? So the problem is with evaluation, not with your writing. You can write any substandard essay and you still expect people to give you good scores. So don't put the blame on the answer. If your answer is really good, automatically you'll get good scores. He may give you 10 marks less than UPSC. Let's say I will give you 120. UPSC might give you 130. I might give you 130. UPSC might give you 140. But there won't be a huge difference, right? I will give you 60 and UPSC will give you 160. That cannot happen. Right? So only 10 marks or 15 marks deviation can be there, but that can be reduced. But if your answer is not good, no evaluator can find, okay. For your satisfaction, we cannot give you marks, right? So that is the problem. Incorporate all those things from day one. If your thinking changes, automatically your reading changes. When your reading changes, automatically your absorption of data style will change. You won't waste too much amount of time, and that will automatically be written in the answers. Society, I hope you followed this particular case in Uttarakhand. Did you follow this case?
Yes,
in Uttarakhand, school kids refused to eat food because food is cooked by a Dalit cook. Okay, midday meal. Then she was reinstated. Yes, Print elevated her to Rosa Parks. Okay, so where does this come from? What are the keywords that should strike in your mind when you look at this particular article? What is the first keyword? Not my first choice. At least my first choice. Where does this stem from? What is the root cause?
Family values. Family values.
What is the technical term?
Socialization.
Social institutions.
Within values, I'm looking for a separate value. From that value, this incident came out. This incident is a byproduct of that particular thought process. You're thinking in technical term for the overall term. Socialization, definitely the problem is created this thought process, you behaved in such a way. Caste has a sub underlying principle. Caste is expressed in some way. What is that way? Where does that discrimination come from? What is the root cause?
Social stratification.
What is the root idea that led you to discriminate? So what is the basis for that superiority? Again, the same thing, all of yours. Purity,
Yeah.
Pollution. Dalit touching my food is affecting the purity. Khatam. That is a manifestation, right? That is a core. That is a core ideology which led to everything else. Purity and pollution. So you touching my food is a pollution. I am pure, you are impure. That is a core reason why caste exists. Our caste is manifested because of that ideology. See, as I said, the fountain, the source is purity, pollution ideology. Casteism is an expression of that. Socialization, stratification, everything is emanating from that particular thought process. What will happen if a Dalit cooks your food? Is manifested through purity, pollution principle. So when they visit the temple, you clean the temple, right? At least the premises are being cleaned. You are not allowed to cook the food, so on and so forth. Okay, so the purity, pollution principle is the basic cause. If we touch that, if we change the behavior at the grassroots level, all the technical terms will automatically fit into the place. So your solution is lying in the behavioral change to remove that purity, pollution concept in the mind. See, SOPs, that is the beauty of SOPs. It doesn't matter whether you're a Hindu, Christian, Muslim, Dalit, woman, transgender, or whatever. If you are a cook, you have to wear a gloves. If you are a cook, you have to wear the headband so that hair won't fall into it. So you standardize the cooking practices throughout the country, right? The beauty lies in hygiene. So if hygiene is the problem, it's not the person, it's the practice. Make sure that all the midday meal cooks throughout the country are following that. Then automatically you're solving the root cause. And Sanatan Dharma allows you that much flexibility that anybody whose mind is elevated can be called as Brahmin. So it does not matter that you have to be a Brahmin. If you practice the Brahmins, practices, then you're still providing a healthy food. If your problem is the food, make sure that it is hygienic. Right? So SOPs are the solution rather than all this drama. And this is exactly something that happened in 2010 in Bihar. In 2010, same case happened in Bihar. Rahul IAS, his name is Rahul IAS. He went there and he ate the food of the Dalit cook. So he solved the problem by influencing the behaviors. But again, 10 years down the line, we are seeing the same drama. So 70 years after independence, still people believe that, someone touching my food will make it impure. Then the solution lies in creating a universal standardization. Yes or no? So Akshay Patra boasts of a lot of hygiene. So hygiene is the core theme, right? Yes or no? So if that can be promoted throughout the country, you are not only solving the caste problem, you are also solving the standardization problem. All cooks will follow this universally throughout the country. So we are improving the overall health standards of the food also, hygienic standards. The same Bihar, I told you, right? Kids died because of pesticide based can being used for sambar. So that can be solved through standardization, SOP mechanisms. So SOP is what this country needs at lot of levels. Yes or no? See, automatically, even in cities, if you go the Pani Puri wala and all those, if he's wearing a plastic glove now, you feel safe. Yes or no? Whether he has used it for 1,000 times or not is a different scenario. But at least if he is wearing a glove in front of you, you feel little bit safer. Yes. Just think about it. That small things will create a lot of impact. So when you see anyone with that headband, gloves, so you assume that establishment is very hygiene. These things have to be brought out into the society. And if the kids' minds are so polluted, you can imagine the impact they will create on the society. This is a very important prelims question. 4J is important. Vulnerability. What are vulnerabilities? See, there is a centralization of data process. For example, centralization of data process. If you think about it, if Amazon servers, AWS, there is a company called as AWS, Amazon Web Servers. If that services are disrupted, okay, lot of internet throughout the world will be disrupted. Facebook, Twitter, lot of companies, YouTube will be suffering. They won't load properly. Even WhatsApp won't work properly. That means there is a heavy establishment of all these companies for centralization of data. Okay. That over dependency on centralization of data is a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing because it acts as a backbone for entire internet. Okay. Bad thing is if something happens to that backbone, entire system will suffer. Right? See, probably WhatsApp is life-saving for someone in some crucial moments. For the rest of the time, it is a time pass mechanism, but in some crucial moments, it's a life-saving mechanism. So collapse of such systems will have a lot of problems. So log4j is also such one vulnerability where majority of the servers in the world use this particular database, and the database have a vulnerability. Vulnerability means weakness. Okay. And we don't even know problems that are created now. It will have long-term ramifications. So just remember, it's a prelims question. Log4j is a term you have seen in the news recently. Is a vulnerability, malware, virus, so on and so forth. So technically, it's not a virus. It is a database with a vulnerability. It's a program with a vulnerability. Okay. It's technically a library, right? All of you know understand. Yes. Libraries are very important components of all the operating systems, not operating systems. Web servers are languages. React, Java. There are so many languages. Every language uses a different library. So this library is used by majority of the companies in the world, and it has a vulnerability. So if it is exploited, it will create a lot of problems. So continuation to the same is zero exploit or zero vulnerabilities. Zero vulnerability means zero exploit is a term you hear in the context of Pegasus mostly. Zero exploit means even the company is not aware that there is a weakness. Let's imagine I have created an operating system. Okay, zero vulnerability. That means I have created an operating system. Even the creator does not know there is a loophole, but some hacker identified that loophole and he has created a software like Pegasus to use that loophole to enter into the systems. See, only when I tell the world that there is a loophole, patches will be made or the gaps will be fulfilled. But if I don't tell anyone, I will use that backdoor whenever I want. Yes, so that is exactly how Pegasus works. Pegasus have identified zero exploits in Android, iOS, and the two major operating systems. So whenever I want to hack an iPhone also, I used to hack it because even Apple was not aware of that small entry door. So, it is now aware, right? If I am aware, obviously Apple is aware. Yes. There are P5 members. Yes. They want to have a world without nuclear weapons. So we can laugh. Yes, New Year joke is over. We can move on. Obama even got nuclear peace prize for disarmament suggestion. Yes or no? Obama. You know Obama won peace prize, right? Nobel Peace Prize in 2008, just when he was elected as a presidential elect. Okay, he was also awarded Nobel Peace Prize. Why? he said the word nuclear peace, disarmament. So being an American president, he said disarmament. So he should be given Peace Prize. Yes. He writes in his book, The Promised Land, that he was not happy to receive it, but anyhow he took it. Okay. Because it does not come every day, right? Nobel Peace Prize. So he was happy to take that particular book. Okay. So prelims questions are START treaty. START treaty. START. What is the START treaty? Arms reduction treaties. START treaty. New START treaty. START treaty are strategic arms reduction treaties. These are prelims questions. START treaty means it's a treaty between USA and Russia where they both agreed to reduce the number of nuclear weapons. Slowly they will reduce the number of weapons, and one day they will eliminate, so that only North Korea can have nuclear weapons. So what are the areas where nuclear is a tension? India, Pakistan, China, North Korea, South Korea, Iran, USA, yes, Russia, USA, right? Officially, all these countries have nuclear weapons. So that is always used as a controlling feature. But India has one thing called as no first use nuclear policy. No first use nuclear policy. What is no first use nuclear policy? We should not use first unless someone else attacked us for nuclear weapons only. Only when they use nuclear weapons, we will have the right to use nuclear weapons. If they have used BrahMos or some other missile without nuclear heads, we cannot use nuclear weapons. Nuclear to nuclear, that is the no first use nuclear policy. Then what is the point? They have used a nuclear weapon. It has attacked an Indian city. Okay, lakhs and lakhs of people have died. Now you want to retaliate. What will we achieve? Third World War. Global peace. Yes or no?
No, sir, but no first use. If everyone signs,
No first use, nobody will use. North Korea, except North Korea.
That's a rule state. What can we do about it?
So only North Korea will have the right to launch nuclear weapons. Superpower. Yes, all this is utopian, right? See, nuclear weapons are nothing but a arms race. Why is it an arms race? It's a zero-sum game. Everybody will go on to get more and more nuclear weapons. Everybody is accumulating nuclear weapons. We are buying more and more weapons, which we will never use. All of us know that we will never use any of these weapons because the salami tactics. It's always the grassroots level army, air force, or navy that will be using the basic weapons. Yes or no? Right? Value addition, you can write in essays, you can write in GS paper 3. So the economic cost of weather disasters. We only lost $170 billion in revenues because of the top 10 natural disasters in the world. $170 billion is good enough money for World Food Program to wipe out poverty or hunger from the planet. Just think about it. Mitigation is very, very important rather than destroying the planet. Floods, fires, heat waves, all these are outcomes of climate change. Yes or no? So you can write such data saying climate change is not only about, climate change is also about a lot of money. The most expensive disaster in India is, the most expensive disaster of 2021 was Hurricane Ida, $65 billion. And there is a cold wave in Texas. Texas is supposed to be a warm place. It has a cold wave. Do we need more proof for climate change? India made a constitutional promise of the dignified life to its most underprivileged caste and is bound to fulfill. Let's start with Sunita Devi.
Wonderful country.
Mhm.
Directly use this.
Yes, this is what Ambedkar has warned us, right? We are entering into a life of contradictions. India-Russia relations. India-Russia relations now explains. Okay. So India-Russia relations, you learn something called as India and Russia are moving away from dependency to collaboration. So till now we used to import weapons from Russia. Now we are collaborating with Russia. This is an example for two things. What is the meaning behind the name BrahMos?
Rivers of Brahmaputra and Moss.
Brahmaputra and Moscow. Brahmaputra and Moscow are two rivers in Russia. So that is the reason behind the name BrahMos. Okay. So now we are extending it to Philippines. Earlier, it was not possible for India to send this missile to Philippines. Now we are able to sell it to Philippines. Which agreement that India signed allowed the sales? Which agreement that India signed allowed the sales? That is your homework. There are 4 major nuclear agreements. I don't know. You found out and tell me. Wassenaar Arrangement, Nuclear Proliferation Treaty, then MTCR.
This is MTCR, sir. This is MTCR.
And it is not even in discussion, right? Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty is long dead and gone. But you get the idea, right? There is some agreement. India has signed it. Because of this, we are able to sell it to Philippines. So what are the 4 agreements? Are weapon agreements, basically, not nuclear. So you have to find it out. Okay.
India would have all the credits, whereas Russia would also have
Joint collaboration, right? Both of us will have the same rights. It's a joint development project. So it's not about who will get the credit. It's about, there is one more reason for India and Russia to be friends. Russia has only one source, that is weapons. So if India and Russia are collaborating, probably Russia can sell weapons to more countries. So India will get some money, right? This is kind of old news, but all of you know this, right? Kerala tops NITI's health index. Which state is worst performer?
Rajasthan.
Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh was adjudged to be worst state.
Okay.
Bimaru states are always Bimaru, right?
Today something was in news. Rajasthan.
This I have shared. To conserve guards to be delayed by 6 months. What will happen in 6 months?
landslides.
Anything can happen. Ecological destruction is very high. Western Ghats are one of the most sensitive biodiversity hotspots, not only in India, throughout the world. They are very special, but we are making sure that they are gone. If you remember the 2 committee names, what are the committee names?
Madhavgarh and Kasturi Rangan.
Kasturi Rangan committee report. What did they suggest?
Declare that as ecologically sensitive zones.
Hmm.
Then
Don't allow
extend-
mining, give more power to Gram Sabhas, don't practice destruction based activities and all those things. But we are happy to do all those things. The impact is floods in Karnataka, Kerala, lack of water in Kaveri Basin. So you get all the idea, right? So all the problems of Western Ghats. So that is a major impact. Tired. Was reading till late night. What is capital adequacy ratio? What is capital adequacy ratio?
It's like
The amount of capital I pump in to get the output.
no.
Incremental capital
That is
output ratio, ICO.
Yeah.
This is capital adequacy ratio. We are talking about capital output ratio. Don't worry. The concept is it's about Basel norms. No? No. What are Basel norms? No, that is one more question. Economy done? Ramesing? No? Waiting till Basra? Yes, we'll plan soon. I will tell Ram sir take all of these people to Basra soon so that they can get their books. Blessed by Saraswati Mata, then they will start. That's the process, right? Waiting for that only. You need that home, swastik and all those things and the books only, then you will start. So I don't know when is that Basra tour. So hopefully this weekend. You need not know entire Lakshmikant. You need not know entire Ramesh Singh. The most obvious things are banking. The most obvious things are NPO. You must have seen hundreds of times, right? Capital adequacy ratio, non-performing assets is increasing, inflation. But are you perfect in inflation? Are you perfect in banking chapters? If you are perfect in these two chapters, half of the questions can be attempted. Yes. So don't spend too much time on too many things. Focus on the core of the core. And second thing, it will boost your morale. Right now, some of you might be depressed, right? I don't even know anything. That comes only because of not even knowing the core of the core things. So draw a circle, core of the core, the most important things. What are they? Things that are there in the news. Next is extension of the core of core, then the remaining chapters. So if you do the core of the core in all the 8 subjects, if I ask you what is the difference between Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats, done. You know, core of the core. Why? It's a previous repeated question. Capital adequacy ratio, NPS, you know. So the moment you keep hearing the same questions again and again, and if you know the answers to the most of the question, your confidence will start growing. Okay, I'm in the right path. Then you will cover the peripheral areas, then the entire syllabus. But if you don't know the core of the core, you will obviously feel depressed and demotivated. So throw away all the plans and everything. Start focusing on the most essential things. For example, Israel. How many hundreds of times you must have seen Israel in the newspaper in the last 5 months? At least 20-30 times you must have seen Israel. But if you don't know Israel map, don't you think you're not preparing in a logical way? Haven't I said that spend at least 5 minutes with Atlas every day? Just 5 minutes, not more than 5 minutes. But why not even 5 minutes? Busy being busy, right? That is not my credit. It goes to Victor Hugo. He says, even the ants are busy. What are you busy about? Right? You know Victor Hugo? Where? Yes, that's what I'm asking. Where? Three Musketeers. The Man in the Iron Mask. Right. So what should you do? Instead of crying, what should you do smartly is take a white paper, break it into three paragraphs, three columns. Okay. Write down all the keywords or the topics that you are supposed to know in economy, polity, geography, and focus only on those questions first, or focus only on those topics first. For example, WPA, CPA. If you don't know the difference between WPA and CPA, write down WPA, write down CPA. Open the textbook, read that like this 50-50 there for all the 7 subjects, the most important chapters. You complete them first. Okay, automatically your prelims scores will see better improvement. It's important to cover the entire book, but it's even more important to focus on the 20%. Remember this line, 20% of your efforts will get you 80% of the scores. 20% of the sub chapters will get you 80% of the scores. It's proved hundreds of times. All those people who clear prelims will actually understand this. It's the core 20% that will get you the 80% of scores. Okay. It's also called as Pareto optimality, Pareto principle. So Pareto principle works in UPSC because sky is the limit. I can ask anything and everything. But if this year, if you go to prelims or not knowing what is the WTO issue or related to sugar, like what is blue box, green box, amber box, then your 20% is weak. Inverted duty structure, your 20% is weak. Write down the list. If you don't find the topics, just Google them. Watch in YouTube. Do whatever you want to do. Don't limit yourself. The purpose is to cover all the 50 most important topics first. You should be good in understanding what is Basel norm, capital adequacy ratio, what is GST, what is GST compensation. This year GST compensation is like very, very much in the news. Yes, map pointing. Spend 5 minutes. Write down 20 most important places in the news. Ukraine border. Spend some time with Ukraine border. Israel. Central Asian countries. What are the 5 Central Asian countries? Arrange their capitals in north to south order or east to west. UPSC will be brutal. Prime Minister Modi is visiting from Israel to Beijing. While he was traveling from Israel to Beijing, arrange the capitals of Central Asian countries in east to west order. Yes. Then your mind will be blocked in the example. Okay, gone. But it's very simple. At least you should know where is what, because Central Asian countries are very much in the news. They are going to come for Republic Day. So such kind of importance is accorded. In the world map, you have to focus on 20% first. Israel, West Asia, right? Ukraine. These are 20% expected heavily in the news. The rest is your luck. If they ask you what is the capital of Telangana, that's 2 marks free. Yes or no? But if they ask you arrange the capitals of 5 countries in south to east to west or west to east or north to east, east to south, you will have some problems. 20% of your efforts will get you 80% of the scores. Okay. So begin with capital adequacy ratio, Basel norms. It's a very important topic for all eternity. Right? You should not even think, yes, after I say, it should come to you like lightning. The moment you hear capital adequacy ratio, Basel norm 3, India's Basel norm official percentage is 9, RBS guideline is 10, we have more than 20. You get the story, right? Everything should fall like bullets. So you must have realized current affairs is nothing but logical extension of prelims, and all the questions will come only from static part, not from current affairs alone. Unless and until you know what is the core theme, it's very, very difficult for you. Okay. So this is just 1 week. This is just 1 week. At least 5 or 6 obvious prelims questions are there. 2 to 4 mains questions are there, which we might expect in this year mains itself. You have to work more attentively. capital adequacy ratio, NPA, IBC, prompt corrective action. It's like an entire story, continuation of the same story, right? Make a chart, make a list, prepare the topics first, automatically will feel positive. Now, what are the DSIPs? What are the 3 important banks? SBI, sure. Okay. Why are they called so? What is the criteria for me to include some bank as a systemic important bank? Is there a criteria or is it the whim and fancy of RBI?